What to do, how to do it, and of course, putting our energy and efforts all together for going to the same direction. So definitely, we really believe the collaboration and the network between all our network will make the difference. So thank you so much, Pedro, for your time, for spending also time with us on the last day of the conference, the encounter, and the festival. We know that it's a big event. I really thank you again on behalf of Fork, and I'm inviting on the stage Lindsay Kerr and Christine Dudley from the Drexel Food Lab. So please join us on the World Food Design Day, and I leave the stage to you for your presentation, for presenting your project. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sonia, and thank you so much, Pedro. That was a really great explanation of where this organization has come. And Sonia, thank you for telling me about Fork and encouraging us to apply to speak today. So just brief introductions, and then we want to get into it because we want to be respectful of time. My name is Lindsay Kerr, and I am the product designer and researcher at Drexel Food Lab. And I'm joined here with one of our clients of the Food Lab, Kristen Dudley, who is a Philadelphia entrepreneur and the co-founder of Mother Butter, which is the product that we're going to focus on today and tell the story of how the Food Lab uses a design-inspired food product development process. So just to give you a little bit of background, the Food Lab is part of the College of Nursing and Health Professions at Drexel University, which is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's been around a long time, since 1891, and it's really focused on experiential learning. So there are long-term internships that students do while they're at Drexel, and there's also a focus on entrepreneurship. And there are, it's a large student population. We have 25,000 undergrad, grad, and online students. And we're also different because we're a doctoral granting research university, but we also have a culinary arts degree. So it's this interesting kind of intersection of where research and culinary arts come together. And that's why our product development process is so design inspired and research inspired as well. So the Drexel Food Lab is a food product design and culinary innovation lab that applies culinary science to improve the health of the people, the planet, and economies. And so what we mean by that is we have the luxury of being able to select clients, whether they're startups, nonprofits, governments, or large established companies. And we focus on projects that have to do with sustainability, food access, and health promotion. And we're also a member of the Upcycled Food Association, and some of our chefs that belong to us are research chefs. And so the last one about Food Lab, this isn't a sales pitch, I promise. We'll get to the product development. But so in doing so, we not only develop new food products and menu items with entrepreneurs, industry, and nonprofit and government partners, but we also develop our flagship product. And that's really students across disciplines who are poised to improve the food system. So really our goal is we have, a changing group of students every quarter. And, it's really great for them to have experience working with these clients so that they can then go and affect positive change in the food system like Pedro was talking about. And so we really go through this design-inspired product development process. And Kristen's going to talk in more detail about Mother Butter going through this process. But just to give you a quick snapshot, we start with talking with our clients about really kind of defining the scope of work. What is the problem that they're trying to solve, and how can we use design research and observation and the cyclical process between informing ourselves and ideation to really come up with the most consumer aligned and food system aligned product possible. So now I'll hand it over to Kristen to talk about the story of Mother Butter going through this process with the help of the Food Lab.
Thanks so much, Lindsay. So in the summer of 2020, I approached the Food Lab with a concept that I had, which I was calling moon cycle snacks. And my goal and the vision that I had was to create a healthy snack for women who were trying to conceive. So thinking about nourishing women's bodies with the goal of fertility. I had personally learned about different ways of eating to support greater chances of fertility. And so I brought the concept to Drexel. And what was really wonderful, I think, about this project in particular is that I wasn't already in business. I only had the concept. I was open to it taking different shapes and forms. And so I'm excited to walk you through how we evolved through the process. So we started again with moon cycle snacks, and we came out the other side with what we now call mother butter. And initially, as I described, our goal was to serve women and women's health and market to women, particularly women who were in that time frame where they were trying to conceive. We ended up coming out the other side with a much broader product and a much more successful product at that. So I certainly can speak to how going through the product development process and trusting in the process certainly saved me a whole lot of time and money. So we defined our problem statement. Again, it started with issues that connect to women and infertility. And so our next step actually was to dive into what products were already on the market, what snack products particularly were being marketed to women for women's health and even for fertility. There really wasn't much on the market that was that specific, but we were looking at the trends that we were seeing coming from fertility coaches, holistic health practitioners, that sort of thing. Our next step in the inform phase is where we really dove deep and a lot came to the surface. So after surveying over 200 women and leading a number of focus groups with women in our target market, we learned that women just really weren't ready for a product like that. They also did not particularly like the idea of being marketed to in that way. And so that was a good hit on the initial concept there. Going into expert interviews and doing a deep dive into the literature and the research that exists, we unfortunately found that there just was not enough hard research on how food impacts women and their fertility. We did, however, find a study that did share positive effects of a Mediterranean diet on a woman's vitality and fertility. And so we held on to that knowing. And part of my goal from the very beginning was to create a snackable product that that was accessible. And so what I mean by that is not exactly marketed as a health food product. I thought there's a lot of women who are struggling with their diets, and I'd like to create something that's desirable for them, and not something that they have to go to a health food store to find. So we went into our ideation phase, and that's where we generated 50 different food concepts, and we began experimenting by developing snacks that had the nutritional profile that we wanted to get into women's bodies. So high magnesium, high in iron, protein, folate. And I think that our next slide may show some samples. Yeah, so these were just really yummy, delicious snacks that we brought to our focus groups that, again, had the nutritional profile that we were seeking. Now, actually, if you could go back to that, Lindsay, while we were producing these food concepts, we had developed a seed butter that we were using as our binding agent, because one of my goals was to make this product gluten-free. And so the seed butter not only allowed us to do that in a lot of our snacks, but it also carried a lot of the nutrients that we were seeking to get into women's bodies, because the seeds are so rich in all of the macro and micronutrients that I've mentioned. And so just before our final focus group, we decided, you know what, let's pull the seed butter out on the side and have folks test or taste that as well and see what they think. And surprisingly, they actually really liked it. So I guess we can go on to the next slide, Linz. But so it was that evening that I sat down and realized, wow, I think I'm about to start making and selling seed butter. This is not what I was expecting. But it made a lot of sense. When we were interviewing women, when we had our focus groups, we were hearing that the way that a lot of women like to snack is by grabbing a scoop of peanut butter to hold them over in the afternoon. And oddly enough, during the pandemic, there were studies, market studies, that showed that nut and seed butters happen to have gone up about 200% in sales because people were seeking shelf-stable proteins. So it was another sort of cue that this was the right direction. We refined the formula, and on the other side, we have mother butter. So mother butter is a multi-seed butter spread. It is absolutely delicious, but it is incredibly nutritious as well. And what's amazing about, again, this process is that we ended up developing a product that does not only serve the needs of women, but the needs of the entire family. We sort of accidentally fell into the nut-free category. And so here in the States, there are a lot of schools and camps that do not allow any nut butters on the premises because of nut allergies. So we're able to serve those with nut allergies. We also are very popular within the vegan community because we are so rich in omega-3s with our flax seeds. So it's an excellent source of omega-3s that's vegan. Yeah, so that's Mother Butter. That's our company. I'll pass it on to Lindsay.
Yeah, thanks, Kristen, for walking us through that process. And just, I know we have just about a minute or so left, so I'll just kind of talk about how Drexel is providing some ongoing support for Kristen as well. So our goal is, you know, we work with clients, and then we want to maintain that relationship in case there are opportunities in the future or there needs some more help for commercialization. So what we're doing now is we are doing some shelf life testing for Mother Butter, and we're also working on planning for a winter quarter project, which should be an exciting new Mother Butter.
Hi guys, I'm very, very sorry, but we're running out of time. I don't want to be rude, but we have to respect the other applicants, and it's so late here.
Of course.
So I'm sorry, but we have to cut it short.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we can hear our email addresses if anyone has any questions or comments.
Send the presentation, please, and we will share it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And now we're going to give the floor to Antonio Barreda. He is going to take